Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make trap snares completely from scratch. It's time for some sound design. We're going from this to this. I really do love sound design, so you already know I'm excited for this one. Let's go. My new drum kit just dropped and I was like, let me make a video to show you guys how to make snares from scratch so you can really have the foundation from it, and then you can kind of just go crazy from there and just get creative with it. So if you guys want more sound design tutorials like this after, let me know in the comments down below what I should cover next. I also forgot to mention in the intro of this video that I'm about to be showing you guys what I think is one of the best sound design plugins to come out yet for really getting creative with your sound design. That'll be mentioned later in the video, so make sure to stay tuned for the whole video, bro, because I promise you sound design takes a long time, but it's worth it. Let's go. So we're going to be in pigments for this. If you don't have pigments, you can use serum as well. So all I did is go over here, new preset here, so we can completely start from scratch with this sound. You're probably wondering how we're going to get that to sound like a snare. I'm about to show you step by step. It's actually really fun too. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to kind of go over this a little quick, but I'll make sure not to go too fast. We're going to take this position on wavetable 1, engine 1, and we're going to bring this up right here from a sine to a triangle, probably somewhere in here, like 360 area. You could also do a square wave, but I'm going to just do a triangle for this because I like how this sounds. The next thing we're going to do is go over here to tune, and we're going to bring this coarse down by -3. So again, you can follow along in something like serum. You just need to find your wavetable, get a triangle, go over to coarse, and bring it down by 3 semitones. Now we're getting this. So it's really applicable to a bunch of different synths, but serum is pretty close to how pigments is as well. So they're completely different, obviously, but if you use both of them, they're very easy to navigate. All right, so now we need to shape the sound. So we're gonna go over here to the attack, bring it right down to 0 so it starts right away. The decay, we need to bring this pretty low. Let's actually drop the sustain fully because we just need to mess with this decay. Let's go somewhere in like the 40s for this. And release, we could probably leave here. Now we have this sound. So depending, you can change this later if you want your snare to be like longer or faster. Let's actually bring this up like low 40s, maybe 43. Probably still wondering how is this sounding like a snare. Don't worry, we're gonna get there. Next thing we're gonna do is add some pitch to this. So we're gonna add in our first envelope to create some modulation. So let's go to envelope 2 right here. I'm gonna bring this attack up. Let's go in like the, I don't know, like 500s area. Then let's bring this decay down so it's pretty quick. And I'll show you what we're gonna do with this. So we can mess with these a little bit later. But let's actually bring this release maybe somewhere around here. And we're gonna take this envelope 2 right here and actually drop it on this coarse pitch. And watch what you're gonna hear now. If I were to bring this all the way up, you're gonna start to hear modulation on it, and it's gonna follow this envelope 2. So you'll see how we're starting to get a little bit of pitch. Right, if I were to bring the decay up, you can really hear it. Kind of sounds like Mario. This is why I love sound design, because you usually get so creative with this. Let's bring this back down. I actually forgot where I had this. What was it? Okay, so 43. What we're gonna do with this though is actually go down so we can get like a deeper tone from this, and we'll probably bring this somewhere around there. Let's hear it now. Right, so we have a little bit of movement happening. Again, if I brought this up, you could really hear it. Right, snares have a pitch to it. You can actually hear a ring, especially if you're tuning them. If you ever played drums, you know it's not just like one hit, one note the entire time, right? It's in the drum, so there's gonna be different pitch to it. It's gonna drop. So we're really just trying to create that real sound of the drum. Next thing we're gonna do is go over here to the filters, and we're going to put a high pass on it. So we're gonna do a high pass 12 right here. Let's bring the cutoff down. Let's just get rid of some of this low end here. We could bring the resonance up as well. Just a little bit here. Right, small movements, you're not really hearing much, but trust me, at the end it's gonna be nice. And then let's bring up this drive. So if we bring the drive really high, you'll hear what it does. Again, you can move all these later on. Right, so we're actually gonna add more distortion later, so we can actually keep this pretty low. All right, then the next thing we're gonna do is go into the utility engine right here, turn on white noise. Now you're gonna hear it start to add even more to this. Right, white noise is a very big part of getting these snare sounds, so we're gonna blend this in, but we're actually gonna do 2 noises. And inside of this one of my favorite ones to use, if you go to drums and down here is snare 808. right here. And then we can adjust our volumes of both of these. But now we're starting to get this, right? You're starting to hear more that this is a snare. And again, you can adjust any of these. Sometimes I like to just get creative while like creating, as I was trying to avoid saying that, get creative while creating. But anyways, just like mess around with things, right? You can kind of start to kind of getting that snare sound from it. So we'll bring this back to where we had it, but you can adjust the decay at any time. We're just going for more of like a snappy one right now. Another thing I like to do is actually modulate this volume right here. And I'm actually going to modulate it with the envelope amp. So I'm just going to bring this up just a little bit, get it modulating, get some movement going, and we can bring this up. Now that's going to follow the amp and bring it up in volume of the specific white noise. I'm not going to add it to the snare one, but you can. Again, just get creative. You can really take any of these at any point and just find out what things sound like. It's always really fun to do, but I'm just trying to get you to get that snare sound at first. So we'll keep it simple. You know, I actually do want to bring this decay up just a little bit. I feel like it's just a little bit too short. Maybe right there. Yeah, that should be good. Now let's go into the effects and add some effects to this. All right, first effect we're going to add is bit crusher right here. Second one is distortion. And the third one is multi-band. I made some presets in here that I really like to use on snare. So let me load those up real quick, and then you can just copy the settings for yourself. All right, so on the bit crusher, this is what we have set up, then distortion, and then multi-band. So now I'm gonna show you what these sound like before and after. I'll move the mouse out the wheel. But that's not even what I meant to say, bro. I'll move the mouse out the way so you could copy these settings on this. And again, you can tweak these. These are just some presets that I saved from designing snares in the past. But anyways, let's hear before and after. So this is before, right? Watch after. It's like a really aggressive, like kind of EDM-ish type of snare, but now we have a nice snare, right? And if we were to bring the decay up even more, watch what this starts to sound like. But this is our basic snare right here. And this is all we're gonna do inside of Pigments for now. We might come back and mess with it later, but that's all we're gonna do. Now we're gonna move on to one of my favorite plugins to use. This is one of my top 3 plugins for sound design. So let's go ahead, throw this into Mixer Channel 1 and load this up. And it's actually by Cable Guys, and it's called Snapback. When they dropped this and I read it, I was like, bro, finally. This is about to be the perfect plugin for snare designs, clap, kick, everything. This is not sponsored at all. I really just use this plugin and I love it. So I have a link to it in the description. You could check that out. I'm not going to go over everything on this plugin. If you guys want me to, I will, but the basics of it are very simple. You have snapback and you have transient, right? So if we go into snapback and we hit right here on off, you'll see all these different sounds that we can add. So if we were to go, let's see something that would be obvious. Let's go with a bit of bell. Okay, so this little bit of bell, this is gonna get added to the beginning of our sound. So you're gonna be able to see it. Let me turn it off. So let's look at the reading right here. And we can zoom in if we want. Now let's turn this on. So you can hear it's adding it right in the beginning of it, right? And if I hit this detail button, it's right there. That purple part is what's being added in, and then the white part over here is our actual sound. So whatever we choose from here is actually just layering it in the beginning of the sound to make it easy. Okay, so now you can hear that's going on, right? We have a shift knob here and you can see all this in time. We have a whole bunch of settings over here of how we can control this. Some of the best things is the built-in attack, decay, and pitch. So we can actually pitch this up. Let me try to find one that's a little more obvious. Okay, you can easily hear that one, right? So we could pitch this up. We could pitch it down. We can bring the attack up and you'll actually see it happen here. This is why I love it. It's just so visual. Cable Guys always does really good with their visuals. Decay, we can actually shorten the end of it. So maybe we just want the beginning of the sound. Again, we have our pitch, we have our volume. We can solo it here and listen to it. And then we have shift, and then you have a high pass and a low pass. Literally everything built in. So this is why I love this plugin so much. There's just so much you could do. Then the same thing over here, we have transient, and all this is gonna do is add a sound to the transient. Watch, if I go ahead and zoom out, you're gonna see this one be a different shade of purple. And that's being added in there. If we zoom in again to detail, and we can zoom really close and further. So you see where the purple one's being added in, right? So it's pretty much layered like right where the transient's hitting. And this one could be anything. And again, same thing. Let's go with the sound that would make more sense. We could bring in the attack, decay, same types of things. This just makes it really cool and easy to layer your sounds and get very interesting sounds. And you can also add your own sounds. If you hover over this, I forgot what part. Yeah, right here, you could see that you can add your own sounds to the menu and use the plugin, which is crazy. So shout out to Cable Guys for that. Cable Guys, let me sound design some sounds for the plugin, bro. That would be crazy. Hey, you never know. Gotta shoot my shot, bro. Let's initialize this. Oh, that one's really nice. Let me turn it up so you can hear. I'll actually solo it. Super simple, but watch what it adds. Turn it up just a little bit. Yeah, that's perfect. Maybe a real snare to layer in with this. Let's see what these sound like. Oh, that one could be cool. Distant. What about this one with the decay down? Just gives it a little bit more like body. Another cool thing you could do is just add in another snapback. So let's go over here. Since I like that other transient, I'm gonna go get that as well. It was distant, right? And let's just layer that one in. Bring it down. And then we could bring the volume down. We could shift it. You see it moving right there, right? If you look over here, if I shift it all the way to the right, you see it's moving over. If I go all the way to the left, it's right in the beginning. So let's shift it and turn it down just a little bit. A little bit more. I think that sounds cool. Maybe we can add in another snapback. Quick clap, which we're gonna add in a second. You see, we get creative with that. We can actually bring this attack down. Let's shift it though, because I don't want it sounding like there's that beginning sound. I kind of like that. What if we pitch it up? What's that sounding like? Okay, maybe back down. And let's bring both of these down just a little bit. This is where I'm just getting nitpicky, bro. You really just got to get like detailed with this. But anyways, before I keep going and going too far, you're getting the idea of it, right? So we have this nice snare right here. So what we could do throughout this whole process, if we want, is kind of bounce these so we can mess with them. So I just threw Edison on the master channel. Let's record that. Cool, we got that, right? See the beginnings of that. That's what I was talking about, how they have those buildups. If you don't want that, then you're going to have to move over. I forgot the name, 1 second. On the snapback part, you have to move over these a little bit or not use them too much. But you can also just trim it off and see what it sounds like. But we'll figure that out after. I'm going to keep it pretty much how it is here. And then we can have this in here, right, for the snare. So snare 1. But we'll just keep using pigments right now. So now we're going to layer in a clap. All right, so to continue on doing this from scratch, we need a clap. So I do have a serum preset for a clap. If you guys want me to do a video creating claps from scratch, I'll show you that as well. I think that could be a pretty cool video. But let's just load up serum. Over here, I have a couple clap presets. This is one I created a really long time ago. So just to get a clap layered in, because it sounds really good, and that's how you start to get more of these trap type of sounds, is layering in claps on top of the snare, because we're almost there, but it still doesn't necessarily fit. So we have this clap here. It's pretty robotic, to be honest, so we can mess with the noise here. And we can also mess with the rate. how fast we want it. Kind of like that one. So as mentioned, I can make a whole video on how to create those from scratch. They're super easy to make, but getting them to sound right is really the part that makes it a little bit more difficult. And this is a really old clap, so I don't necessarily like how it sounds by itself. It's not horrible, but it sounds pretty good through there, I'm not gonna lie. All right, so I threw a little bit of RC20 on the clap. Right, get that nice sound. Let's bring this down just a little bit. And now let's layer both of these together. So before on the snare, let's turn it up and layer in the clap slowly. Starting to hear that trap sound. It's getting a little less like EDM-ish, more trap. Somewhere in there. Now let's go over to here and let's throw an EQ on this. Let's do a boost at like 2K. And then our fundamental of the snares right here. Right, so if we want like a trap soul, if we want a trap soul snare, that was crazy to say. We can have this really boosted and sound really cool. Right, but I kind of want to get rid of a little bit of this just for this specific snare. But if we get rid of too much, watch what's gonna happen. It's dead. So we need to just kind of back it off a little bit. I'm looking at the top left, maybe like a dB. And then let's mess with this. Now before and after. See what I'm saying? And then bring this up just a little bit. And now let's actually render these together. So I really like how this is sounding. Not gonna lie, this is actually coming out crazy, bro. So maybe we'll cut this somewhere to here. We can mess with this later, but we got the idea. Let's just drag this over here to its own channel, and then I just keep going. I throw this on channel 3. Same thing, bring it in here. And I have everything playing at once. Let me turn these off. So here is the, let me name this. All right, cool. So now we got this. And from here, we can add whatever we want. We can add more compression, more EQ, more distortion. Honestly, you could just get creative with this, especially when it comes to EQ curves. When you get into doing EQ moves, just go in here. You can also bring this up to be more squared off like this and just do very tight boosts. And you can get creative with this, watch. Watch how much we could change sound. Even if we went somewhere in there and brought it down like here. Watch, I'm gonna just do a couple of these just to show you what happens just off EQ moves. All right, if we bring this down. Another thing you could do is mess with this right here. What if we brought this way up? Okay, now it just sounds crazy. Could throw this on stretch. Okay, so let me show you something because we're getting creative and I'm having fun. We can go back into Edison, right? And let's just say we wanted to record this like crazy sound. And we just like that like metallic part that it has. So we could take this, bring it out, and see, this is actually something that we could throw back into Snapback. But anyways, we could take this like crazy part, right? And let me get this snare back, the original snare, because I kind of was messing with it. So we have this OG snare, right? And then this layer sound. We can throw this layer sound into, I don't know, some reverb. Let's go into... my camera's still on. Let's go into isotope. Let's get this reverb right here. Spaces. Now it's like a pretty cool like laser sound, right? Watch if I actually bring this up and down a little. And then we can layer that back with the original snare here. Oh, hold on. Now we're trying, like, we're kind of starting to get like a chop snare vibe. You can move these over too. All right, have it delayed. Bring it up an octave. Down. Turn this off. You can have it fade out. We can go like this so we can control it. Ooh, hold on, bro. We're getting somewhere. Bring it down. I kind of like both of these. But anyways, you get what I'm saying. It goes on forever. It doesn't matter. We can add EQ. I could be here for an hour doing this. I'll probably just leave this video unedited too. And now we have like a really cool snare sound. It's definitely unique. So that's it. Before I keep going, just keep processing, have fun with this. This is why I love doing it, because you can just create something completely from scratch and have endless amounts of fun, bro. I just really love sound design so much. With that being said, new drum kit. This one is a West Coast inspired drum kit covering all different types of West Coast and G-Funk. So it's really 2 kits in one. The kit's crazy. I'll have it up on the screen right here and a link to it in the description. But regardless of that, just wanted to mention that since we're making a sound design video. If you guys did like this video, let me know in the comments down below what other sounds I should cover. Because you can see if I tried to do this whole thing of making a drum kit from scratch with everything, we would be here for hours. So maybe it's better to just do them one by one. But this will give you an idea of how to at least make a usable snare that you can mess with. And then after that, just get creative with it. And it's really just about having fun. Let me take these headphones off because I feel like I'm talking super loud. Anyways, with that being said, link to the new kit in the description, a link to my site. Appreciate you guys for watching as always, and I really do hope you guys enjoy this sound design video because I would love to make more, bro. I love making them, not gonna lie. Appreciate you guys watching. Till the next video, peace.